Still on government intervention in product markets. Now, I want to talk about measures to promote competition and contestability. So, for promoting competition and market contestability involves government policies and actions to increase market access, strengthen competition laws, and foster innovation. So, promoting competition policy and contestability means government wants potential firms to have access to that market. So the market is not going to belong to only existing firms. So whatever hinders the entry of potential firms will be discouraged. That is what government measure is about. So what are those things? So I wrote, these measures encourage new firms to enter the market, reduce the excesses of existing firms, and ultimately benefit consumers with lower prices and greater choices. With the measures of promoting competition and contestability, prices becomes affordable for consumers, output will also increase. That is the essence of promoting competition policy. So what are the ways in which government can promote competition and contestability? The first one is to tax incentives and grants to promote small businesses and FDI. One measure which government can use to promote competition and contestability is through tax incentives and grants to promote small businesses and FDI. So let's start with small businesses. For small businesses, government can provide them with grants and training. Government can provide new entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs grants and training. And if is able to provide them this, it allows them to start up a small business. And when they are able to start up a small business, these businesses might be able to, to become bigger and compete with existing firms. Do you understand small businesses here? We're talking about ways to promote competition and contestability. Competition and contestability is simply talking about allowing more firms, potential firms, to come into the market and compete with existing firms. That is what competition and contestability is about. So one way to do that is giving tax incentive and grants to promote small businesses and FDIs. So we start with the small businesses. For small businesses, like I said, these can be done through government giving grants and training to potential entrepreneurs. And as soon as these entrepreneurs are trained, now government would give them that grant to start up a small business, which can potentially compete with existing firms. And that increases competition. Do you understand the first one here? Do you understand, please? Yeah. And for FDI occurs when a firm in one country buys a controlling interest in another firm of another firm in the country. So the point about FDI is that with FDI, a firm in Turkey has interest in a firm in Libya. So it's going to buy a controlling part of that firm in Libya. And that allows the firm in Libya to compete in the Libyan market with the rest of its competitors. So that is what FDI is going to do. So with FDI, it allows the business to be more competitive in the market. And its competitiveness could be through latest technology or probably know-how from the FDI, from the foreign investors. As soon as that happens, they become more efficient. And if they are more efficient, they will be able to compete with the existing firms in that market, in the Libyan market. And that allows that increases competitiveness. Do you understand? So that is about using FDI or government grants to potential entrepreneurs to start a small business which can potentially compete with the larger ones or existing ones. Any question about using FDI and any question about FDI and small businesses to increase competitiveness in the market? Any question about it? No. Good. Another method government can use is deregulation. And when we talk about deregulation, we're talking about the process of removing laws or policies, softening them to encourage competitiveness. So here I go. This is the process of removing government controls from the market, and it is a way of removing monopoly power. So if monopoly power is removed, it simply means that new firms can be allowed to set up in that market. So the regulation may come in the following ways. One, government allowing private firms to compete in the market that is currently being supplied by a state monopoly, like the General Electronic Company of Libya. It's a state monopoly. So government might deregulate. If government deregulates, it simply means government might allow private firms to compete with General Electric Company of Libya to supply electricity. That's the first one. The second one is government lifting lifting regulations that prevent competition between private firms. So government might also lift regulations that anti-competitive practices that makes it difficult for potential firms to come into the market. Government might take that away. But what is the problem about using deregulation to increase competitiveness? It is about creaming in the markets. And when we talk about creaming simply means those firms might want to produce where it is profitable for them. Government is not monitoring them anymore. Government has allowed them access to produce. But with this government access, they might only want to produce where they could be able to make more profit. And that is a problem about deregulation. Is it clear? When there is deregulation, it reduces government power over the activities of firms. And that is the point. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Good. Another method in which government can use to increase competition and contestability is through privatization. Are you with me, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Be right back. Another way which government can use to increase competition and contestability is through privatization. When we talk about privatization, we're simply talking about the transfer of state-owned property or state-owned businesses to the private sector. Yes or no? That is what privatization is. Privatization itself cannot bring about competitiveness because if General Electric Company of Libya is being privatized, it simply means that it's still the monopoly. So there's only going to be privatization. Privatization can only lead to increasing competition if the nationalized monopoly is splitted into competing firms. Do you get the point I'm making or not? Do you get it or not, please?
Yeah.
So if General Electric Company is being privatized, it doesn't mean there's competition. It does not bring about competition. It only brings about competition if the General Electric Company is split into competing firms or government reduces the barriers to entry. That would increase competitiveness. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Is it clear, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And yes, the next one is competitive tendering for public sector contracts. So for competitive tendering for public sector contracts, we're simply talking about government allowing, letting the private firms know about different goods and services that can be supplied. So they allow private firms to bid for those contracts. And as soon as they bid, government would only give it to the firm that has the lower price and can guarantee quality. Do you understand competitive tendering for public sector contract here? What's supposed to be done? It is government's job. It is government product and service. But government is inviting private firms to bid for those contracts. So bidding for those contracts increases competition. But government will only give it out to a firm that charges a lower price and can guarantee quality better than the rest. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Any question about that?
Yeah.
And the last method in which government can use to increase productivity promotion and contestability is through trade liberalization. Are you there?
Yeah.
So for trade liberalization, it simply means reduction of barriers to entry in terms of trade, international trade. So trade liberalization allows international trade. That is the point. And with international trade, efficient foreign firms will be able to, export their goods into different countries. And what happens if they are able to export their goods into other countries? Prices will be lower. And that might encourage local firms, to be more efficient. Because if they are not efficient, they will be out of the market. So these are ways in which government can increase contestability and competition in the market. Any question about it?
No.
So in the next class, we're going to talk about measures to protect suppliers and employees. Clear?
Yeah.
Good.